Welcome, Catherine Frith and Michael Walsh. You have been chosen to spend 50 days in the Immaculate Room and will win $5 million by completing the task.
Mike and Kate step into a massive, spotless white room. A space so clean and empty, it feels unnatural. The moment they press the red button on the wall, a calm, robotic voice fills the room, informing them that they've officially entered an experiment. The rules are simple but brutal. If the two of them manage to stay inside this pristine chamber for 50 full days, they'll earn $5 million. But if either one steps out, the prize drops to just $1 million. There's a harsher detail too. No outside communication, no entertainment, nothing but each other and the blank walls around them. The voice also explains that they can request additional items, but anything they order will be deducted from the prize money. When the announcement ends, Mike and Kate immediately convince themselves they've just found the easiest way in the world to make money. Kate even sees the experiment as a fresh start for their relationship. She suggests they split the reward evenly to avoid arguments later, hoping to invest everything responsibly. But Mike hates the idea. He imagines beaches, parties, and never working again. As they explore, they realize the place wasn't called Immaculate as a catchy name. Everything is literally blinding white. No decorations, no distractions, just a plain bed, a small bench, and a sterile bathroom they can only use one at a time. A red button waits by the door for anyone who wants to quit. A touchscreen panel lets them order items. And high above the exit, a giant countdown clock tracks every remaining second. Their meals? Not even real food. Just a thick, flavorless white shake designed to meet their daily nutrition needs. The lighting shifts automatically throughout the day, bright for morning, warm for afternoon, dim for night. And when bedtime arrives, a soft chime rings, signaling that they're expected to sleep. The touchscreen even has a built-in alarm clock. Mike decides to treat the whole thing like a lazy vacation and refuses to wake up early. Kate, desperate for structure, sets an early alarm to keep herself grounded. On the very first night, Mike tries getting intimate, but Kate worries they're being watched. Mike doesn't give up, and eventually they end up doing it quietly under the blankets, just in case. The next morning, Kate heads to the bathroom, looks at herself in the mirror, and recites her daily affirmations, her way of keeping her mind strong. After showering, both of them toss their dirty clothes down the laundry chute and receive simple, color-coded pajamas in return. To keep her mind active, Kate tries to figure out why Dr. Yan, the mysterious creator of the experiment, would design something like this. Mike explains that he once watched a documentary about one of Yan's earlier tests, which supposedly ended horribly for a working-class family. Nobody knows why the doctor conducts these experiments, only that he's incredibly wealthy and fascinated by how humans behave under extreme conditions. But back inside the sterile room, boredom becomes their first real enemy. Kate meditates to stay calm, while Mike spirals into long, strange monologues about random questions, like why the whole room is white or which direction is correct when brushing teeth. Whenever he becomes too fixated on the countdown clock, Kate snaps him out of it, reminding him he'll lose his mind if he keeps staring at it. Despite her efforts, Mike struggles to sleep, growing more restless each day. Kate sticks to her routine, affirmations, tidying the bed, staying centered, and she tries to lift his spirits whenever he falls apart. While Kate meditates, Mike forces himself to stay active by jogging around the room. To fight off boredom, Mike and Kate start inventing silly games, clapping challenges, makeshift versions of Marco Polo, and even dancing in the middle of the empty room, just to feel alive again. Every time their pajamas get dirty, they toss them down the laundry chute and receive the same plain set all over again. Days blur together until, before they know it, nearly 4 weeks have passed. On day 27, something finally breaks the monotony. Mike spots a tiny insect crawling across the white floor, the very first living creature they've seen since stepping inside. Thrilled, he crouches beside it, like it's a long-lost friend, talking to it as if it were a pet. Out of instinct, he tries feeding it a drop of their meal shake, but the moment the liquid touches the ground, the mechanical voice warns them. Food is strictly for participant consumption only. Worried the insect won't survive inside that sterile chamber, Mike begs for some way to release it into the outside world. Kate tries to explain that the voice isn't interactive, it only delivers instructions, and pressing the exit button just to ask would disqualify them immediately. The disagreement snowballs into a fight. Mike insists that even a tiny creature deserves compassion. Kate snaps back, calling him arrogant for acting morally superior just because he's vegan and she isn't. The argument escalates until Kate accuses him of being vegan only to spite his wealthy father, a man who gave him everything, while Mike pretends to be a struggling street artist who has suffered for real. Kate storms away from the conversation, and in her frustration, she accidentally steps on the insect. Its body crushes instantly. She freezes, horrified, claiming it was an accident, but Mike can't bring himself to believe her. The rest of the day, he sits in a corner sulking, refusing to talk. Eventually, he cracks. Doing absolutely nothing for days on end is eating him alive, mentally and emotionally. The rules allow each participant to request 2 items, so Mike orders 1, even though it will cost them $100,000 of the prize money. Kate strongly disagrees, but Mike doesn't need her approval. The item arrives, a single green crayon. It seems ridiculous, but to Mike, it feels like oxygen. At last, he can draw again. He immediately starts sketching on the white walls. After a while, Kate asks him to draw her. Mike agrees but tells her he won't do a realistic portrait. He finds them soulless. Kate takes this as an insult, assuming he's avoiding realism because he doesn't want to capture her imperfections. Another argument breaks out and she walks away. Mike keeps drawing until the crayon is almost gone, leaving green streaks all over the bathroom tiles and smudges across the towel. Kate gets annoyed again, but later she apologizes for her behavior. The isolation is breaking her down more than she expected, but at least only 20 days remain. But the days ahead stretch endlessly. One morning, Kate walks into the bathroom and finds a gun lying on the floor. She calls Mike immediately. Both of them hesitate to even touch it, unsure if it's loaded, terrified of what it could mean. Since the rules forbid placing anything except clothes into the laundry chute, they have no way to dispose of it. In fear, they hide the gun under the bed. Not long after, the experiment finally gives them a reward: connection time, brief video messages from loved ones. Mike receives a message from his sister. She updates him about their parents and casually mentions she assumed he and Kate weren't together anymore. Seeing her face brightens Mike's mood instantly. Then it's Kate's turn. Her screen automatically plays a video of her father, a man who had disappeared from her life for years. Now, he appears to be living in a homeless shelter. He speaks to her softly, gratefully, telling her he's alive and doing better. But Kate panics. The video can't be paused, can't be skipped, can't be muted. She covers her face and runs behind the bathroom doorway, sobbing as his voice echoes through the room. Mike rushes over and holds her while she cries. Later that night, she clings to him in fear, unable to sleep. In the morning, she ignores her alarm and stays in bed all day, sunk in a deep depression, shaken simply because she heard her father's voice again. Kate finally opens up, telling Mike that she hasn't seen her father in over 10 years. She admits she always lied to Mike about him because she was deeply ashamed and terrified of the man he used to be, a father who drank away the family's house money and destroyed any chance she had of growing up in a stable environment. Only a little more than 2 weeks remain, yet Kate still refuses to leave the bed. Mike tries to entertain himself however he can, scribbling on his old crayon drawings with his fingers, reading the washing label on his pajamas with exaggerated emotion just to make himself laugh, anything to fight the crushing boredom. He even tries to get Kate to eat by joking about the bland shakes, but she barely reacts. Eventually, he climbs into bed beside her, hoping his presence might bring her comfort, but she still feels numb. Some nights, Mike even sleeps on the hard floor just to experience something different. One morning, he begs Kate to use her item allowance. She refuses. She can't stomach the idea of losing any more money. Mike, now mentally fraying, admits he doesn't know how much longer he can handle this. That finally motivates her to pull herself out of bed. Before showering, she tells Mike he can order his second item if it'll help him cope, even though she knows it will cost them over $100,000. Desperate for stimulation, Mike asks the system for entertainment. The door suddenly slides open, and a naked woman steps inside. Her name is Simone, and she has no idea what the experiment is really about. She explains that she's simply an actress hired for a strange gig, forced to sign multiple NDAs. Although she's contracted for a month, her agent told her she'll probably only be inside for 24 hours. Kate bristles instantly, uncomfortable with her presence. She forces Mike to give Simone his shirt to cover herself. Simone notices Mike's artwork on the wall and praises his style, even recognizing some of his artistic influences, which only irritates Kate more. This is definitely not the kind of item she wanted Mike to choose. When night arrives, Mike offers to sleep on the floor so the two women can take the bed. Simone offers to stay awake and keep watch while they sleep. Kate becomes annoyed at how polite they're being to each other, and eventually decides all three can share the bed, as long as she sleeps in the middle. Even then, she tosses and turns all night, unable to relax. The next morning, Kate wakes to an empty spot beside her. Simone isn't gone. She's in the shower. Finally fed up with her own anxiety, Kate orders an anti-stress item. The machine delivers a small box box containing 3 hallucinogenic pills. Kate swallows one, offers one to Simone, and Mike reluctantly agrees to take the last, after a lot of hesitation. Soon all 3 of them are dancing wildly across the room, laughing uncontrollably, spinning in circles like the walls have finally come alive. The hallucinations embolden them. They share messy group kisses, losing themselves in the surreal rush of the moment. But the high twists suddenly, Mike spirals into a terrifying bad trip. He sees blood dripping from the ceiling, feels water closing in around him, and envisions his younger brother sinking beneath the surface, drowning beside him. The women grab him, trying to anchor him back to reality. But he panics, screaming to leave the room while mumbling about Shal and the drowning. Kate drags him to bed, holding him tight until the drug finally wears off and he collapses into sleep. Later, Simone quietly asks Kate what Mike meant. Kate explains the truth. Mike's little brother Shal drowned in their family pool while Mike was supposed to be watching him. To make it worse, Mike was high that day, a regret that has haunted him ever since. That's why he hesitated to take the pill. Simone then gently asks how Kate and Mike first met. Kate smiles sadly, remembering a rainy afternoon when she had no umbrella. Mike walked up to her, raised his hands in the air, and offered to catch every raindrop so she wouldn't get wet. Back then, he felt like sunshine. When Mike wakes up, he shares a vulnerable moment with Simone. She tells him she lost her mother when she was young. The two bond over their shared grief. Simone takes his hand to comfort him, and when Kate notices, she instantly misinterprets it. Her jealousy explodes. Simone pushes back, accusing Kate of being insecure and projecting her fears. A heated argument erupts, until Mike finally yells for both of them to stop and step away from each other. Kate attempts to apologize, admitting she probably imagined things incorrectly, but Simone smirks and fans the flames, teasing that maybe she didn't imagine it after all. The next morning, Mike feels sick and drained, but Kate is distracted, pacing in her own thoughts. Simone is gone, but she left behind a message scribbled in green crayon on the wall, thanking Mike for the wild night they shared. Kate loses it. She refuses to listen when Mike tries to explain nothing happened. He insists it's just another manipulation from the room, like the gun. The place is designed to mess with them mentally. Enraged, Kate shoves Mike. He falls and hits his head, blood dripping down his hairline. He backs away, hurt not just physically, but emotionally. He reminds her that he never cheated on her, not even when she moved to New York, not when he cut off his wealthy friends just to make her feel comfortable, not when he dropped out of college to stay home with her during her depressive episodes. He gave up so much. And yet, in return, he gets nothing but accusations and jealousy. Kate breaks down crying, apologizing again and again, but their argument is suddenly cut short when Mike starts feeling dizzy. The blow to his head is finally catching up to him. His vision blurs, and panic flickers in his eyes. He's convinced he needs a doctor. But Kate rushes to him with the only thing they have, the bland meal shake. She begs him to drink, insisting he just needs sugar to stabilize. Then she presses a towel against his wound, reminding him that the contract clearly stated no medical assistance would ever be provided. Mike stares at her in disbelief. Her words don't feel comforting, they feel cruel. For a moment he wonders if she genuinely cares, or if she's more worried about the money than his life. Thankfully, the bleeding stops on its own, the cut proving to be relatively small. But what terrifies Mike isn't the injury, it's the thought of how far Kate might have gone if the wound had been worse. Would she have let him bleed out just to keep the prize? The realization hits him like a punch. This place has twisted them into strangers, and money won't fix the damage. Mike decides he's done. He's leaving. Kate refuses. She reminds him it's easy for him. He grew up rich. Money never meant survival for him the way it did for her. Then, trembling with desperation, she grabs the gun from under the bed and points it at him. Her hands shake violently, but her fear of losing everything is stronger than her reason. Mike doesn't flinch. He ignores the gun and presses the red button. Kate fires a shot upward, screaming, but it's too late. The door opens. Mike steps out. He abandons the experiment. 16 days before victory. Kate collapses into despair. She spends days lying motionless, then breaks down sobbing in the shower. 2 days before the experiment ends, she notices the old raindrop drawing Mike made on the wall, a reminder of the boy who once shielded her from the rain just to make her smile. Inspired by the memory, she walks toward the exit, places her hand onto the red button, and leaves the room too. Months pass. Mike is out jogging when he suddenly spots Kate exiting a building. He freezes. They haven't seen each other since the Immaculate Room. She's been visiting her father. Mike thinks that's good. Maybe she's rebuilding her life. They decide to walk together and talk, but when Mike gently asks whether she stayed in the room until the end or quit early, she doesn't answer. As they walk farther away, the camera pulls back to reveal the building, a homeless shelter. A plaque near the entrance announces that the shelter recently rebuilt its kitchen, thanks to a large anonymous donation. Kate's silence finally makes sense. Meanwhile, back inside the Immaculate Room, a new couple steps inside, full of excitement, convinced the challenge will be even easier for them. And with that, the twisted cycle begins again. And honestly, if I were offered that kind of money, I might spend those 50 days with a stranger too. What about you? Tell me in the comments. And if you enjoyed this recap, make sure to like the video, hype it up, and subscribe to the channel for more movie breakdowns.